I don't know if I can say this, but like, that,
Yeah.
like, don't try to dampen my light. Like, this light is like, for a lot of people, brought so much joy. This light has like offered inspiration for somebody. This light has like helped someone out of a really tough time. Why would I dim it for the sake of like blending in?
This is Advice from Strangers, the podcast where we ask people we've never met to solve our most intimate problems. I'm your host, Bridget Kimbrough. Let's do this. Hi, and welcome back to Season 1 of Advice from Strangers. This is the podcast where me and different weekly co-hosts sit down with a stranger to get some off-the-cuff life advice. It's an exercise of opening up and letting go. And this week, to help us with our mental stretching, is our co-host, Abby. Or should I say, Babs. Hi!
Hi.
Babs, let's talk about Babs. Okay, it's going to take a minute to transition from Abby to Babs, but fewer names do I love more than a Babs. So let's talk about bringing that heat. Who gets to call you Babs? Is this everyone?
I mean, yeah, I think people that are close to me for sure. Like, this has become sort of a personality name, like something that I can grow into. Like, I like to think of it as like a mantra to live by. Like, what would Babs do? As like a way to like think about self-awareness and like the kind of person I want to be in this next phase of my life, So I think people who are a part of that, absolutely. Like, it's a part of like almost being like, if a friend or someone in my life is referring me to Babs, it means like they're on board. Like, they like this version of me. They are advocating for this. They're my cheerleader, And so, I think absolutely. Like, if you're calling me Babs, you're like, you're team Babs.
Okay, I freaking love it. I love anything that like denotes change, right? And I don't think that we do enough of it. I know it never really occurred to me to do it until like kind of now later in life. So tell me, like, what do you feel like you're stepping out of, and what do you feel like you're stepping into?
I think I'm stepping out of this person who was always just sort of being too thoughtful about what people thought, wanted me to be, this idea of like, you should be this, or you should be embodying this, or we want this for you, and in terms of like a familial expectation, and it's more of like transitioning into like, okay, unlearning some of those stigmas and tropes that like are put on women, and really leaning into like the things that I like about myself that are kind of unapologetic, that maybe before I thought were problematic, or I just had some kind of tension around it. It's like, no, this is me, and I should own it and like claim it. And so I think that's what it is it's a transition from a person who kind of lacked a little bit of confidence in certain qualities, and into a person who is just authentic and is the kind of person that people want to be around, and that like see that person and they think like, that's a person that I want in my orbit, because it's going to be a person that I want to feed off that energy in a positive way. That makes sense.
Oh my God, I love it. It makes total sense. It's something I find hard to do. Okay, look, I'm real bad at tamping myself down, but I am constantly trying to do it. Because it's a lot. It's loud. First of all, it's loud. And so loud is attention grabbing, and then it's too late, right? Like, whatever it was I said or did, you definitely heard it because it's loud. And so I'm constantly trying to do it. And I don't know if I'll ever just settle in, because it's a lot. I want to say it feels like a lot, but it is a lot. I really feel like I've walked the earth enough to see enough types of people to be like, oh no, it's a lot. Like, and by it, I mean like my frequency, my vibe. It's a fucking lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I think that's what it is. It's like I've always been like my mom used to always use this word for me as like passionate. She's like, you're so passionate. And sometimes it felt a little bit like a negative thing. Like you're too much. You've got a
Mhm.
lot of energy, you got a lot of love, you got a lot of creativity, you have a lot of thoughts, you have a lot of opinions, and you have a lot of things going on. And that's always been something that like I've tried to suppress because I felt like, oh, I'm too much, whether it's like in
Yes.
friendships or relationships in the workplace. It's like I've got too much going on and I need to like reel it in. And
Yeah.
and that's kind of what Baz is. It's like, you know what? Like, I don't know if I can say this, but like that, you
Yeah.
know, like don't try to dampen my light. Like this light is like for a lot of people brought so much joy. This light has like offered inspiration for somebody. This light has like helped someone out of a really tough time. Why would I dim it for the sake of like blending in, you know? Yeah.
This makes me think of the first time we met. Um, I remember sitting there thinking you were telling the story, and me and this other person
I
at this
know what
party
story you're telling me. You're
were
about to tell.
just. I was crying, laughing, and I remember thinking, when that's like the first time you meet somebody, and you're like, "Oh, this person is," and I was like, "Oh my god, this girl is such a straight man," because your humor and how funny you were a surprise to who might just immediate, having talked to you for like 30 seconds, assumption of what your vibe would be, right? And so I love surprises. So like I love that's immediately my favorite kind of person, but it's also interesting to hear that maybe part of that is because my initial impression was this thing that you were trying to like mitigate to come in as more low key.
Oh, yeah, especially
Yeah.
in the environment in which we met and the other personalities in the room. I think that's something I always struggle with too, is it's like, it's hard to be in a room with people who have similar energy levels. Like, I will definitely suppress myself if I'm in a room where I'm like, I can't compete and I don't want to compete. Like,
Okay.
there's certain
Yeah.
environments like that too, where it's like, if you're around people that are like really funny and really loud, it's like, I don't want to be because then it becomes less about like showing your authentic self and more about like showing that in comparison to someone else, you know. But it's so funny that you say that because I have always considered myself. Someone said this about my dad, and I think so much of myself and my personality is pulled from my dad. But they told him one time that he's the funniest man that never told a joke, and so I've like claimed that tagline for myself. Like I'm
That's
the funniest girl who's literally never intentionally tried to be funny. It's all in the delivery.
it's all in the delivery. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Where I was because your delivery wasn't for the jokes. You weren't yucking it up, but you were killing me. Yeah. Okay, I love it. All right. I love that we didn't talk about, but let's for a second talk about why we're here.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this thing with the general premise, and the more that I say it, now I can't say the more that I do it because this is only my second recording, but the more that like I talk about it, it kind of grows, which I'm appreciating. But the general premise that um the universe is trying to help us and trying to like guide us. And it's got to find ways to do it because it's not just going to come out and tell us. So one of those ways is like these random conversations with strangers, right? You know that you built a community with your friends, and so you're always going to spitball stuff. But I feel like a lot of that is more like you leading the conversation. But if you're just like, and my example is like at the bar in the bathroom, and you just start talking to the girl like in the mirror beside you. And I've had like women say the most awesome shit that I don't know if I should have done it or not, but it was amazing pearls of wisdom, right? That's the universe going, hey, real quick, listen to this. And you can do what you want with it, right? So that's the idea. So today, I'm excited because Erica is a stranger to both of us. So I don't know her. You don't know her. She got sent to me through someone. And so we're going to talk to her. So I'm going to read you some topics. You're going to pick one. And then we're just going to tell Erica. And then we're going to talk about it. Okay. All right. So, Babs, your topics are: how will I know when I'm happy? What if my inner child is wrong? Should I start wearing tank tops? What's the best way to make new friends? Or how do I change my frequency?
Ugh, that's tough. I'm torn between the happy one or the inner child one.
How will I know when I'm happy, or what if my inner child is wrong?
I think I'm going to go with what if my inner child is wrong, because I feel like if we do the happy one, I'm going to cry.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Because I'm not even really sure what I mean by it. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, sweet. All right. We're going to bring Erica in and see where this goes. Hey, Erica.
Hi.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
It's so good to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. You're so profesh with your... Okay, first, that your headphones have that little pink on it is super deluxe. And then your microphone is totally rivaling mine.
It was like a gaming headset thing, so I just took that.
You gotta keep that on.
One in.
You do have to keep the tiny mic.
It's like a Britney moment.
Yeah, right. Or like those old school Time Life Books commercials where she's like, "Hi, I'm Nancy."
Yes. Oh my God. Can I call you Nancy?
No.
Okay. Okay, so Erica, I'm so happy and thank you for being down to do this. We have given our co-host Babs some options, and she has chosen what if my inner child is wrong?
Ooh.
So
that for a second.
Yeah, I'll talk for a second. So, I think we all see where that's coming from. It's something I just made up, but ultimately, to be our most authentic selves and to truly find our way and navigate this world and find what's really going to make us happy, we want to find a way to go back and listen to our inner child, right? Find her, they, them, dig them out, and then let them guide. And you can pay attention or ignore me, but just to take some time, I will say this. I was going through a lot of just self-help stuff a few years ago, and I got hypnotized, which I've always wanted to do, right?
No way.
So I found this hippie chick with some bowls, and I went to her house, and I had a very specific thing of I want to get hypnotized because, and this is what I want out of it. And she was like, okay, I hear you, but that's not really true to the nature of what we're doing. And what we really want to do is bring your inner child out and let her lead. And it was this tension between, I need to be more in charge and more on top of my game. And I need to find a way to leverage that energy that comes to me in times of trauma, where I just take charge and I'm doing it without the trauma. I just want to be alpha me, more readily. And she was like, we need to be inner child you. And I will say it didn't go well for a few reasons, but I think part of it is I was resisting. And I'm not saying she was wrong, but I was kind of resisting, I don't know if I want baby Bridget to do it. So
this is why you need a what would Babs do? You need a what would whatever your new persona is.
Yeah.
So what would BK Broiler do?
So in the scenario of we're letting our inner child lead, what the hell does she know?
I think she knows a lot, because isn't our inner child is our purest authentic selves is what it's supposed to be. And I've also done a lot of self-help work and a lot of therapy, and both in working for my own self and then working with clients in my field of work, which is end of life. So I think I'm going to say that the inner child is not so much a literal thing as if like who I was when I was 4, but instead who am I at my purest sense that I am and what's important to me. And I think, you know, as adults, we're all like a conglomeration of all the experiences that we've had, and that makes us like stronger and better people. And, um, you know, we see the world in the way that we do because of what we've been through and persevered. So that's also important. And I don't want to discount that person. But if you have had any kind of trauma or like past issues, I mean, that does rewire your brain in a way that makes that the norm. So I think that the inner child part of it is trying to get back to the state before that rewiring. So what is your purest sense? What are your values? What's important to you before external forces have come in? So as a child, your inner child, if it's wrong, how did it become wrong? Like, where did that come from? So, yeah, it could be wrong, but I think it's more like here I am at my, you know, my ultimate form, and what are my values? And I think that in that case, your values can't be wrong if they're what you believe in.
But aren't your values sort of molded by your life experience?
Yes.
I think your values are created by your life experience. Like you're handed a set
Yeah.
by like, you know, whoever's rearing you, right? But your actual values, I think, are created by life experience. But I don't think that they change that much. Like your actual key core values,
Right.
right? I don't know when they show up, but I think because I say this because um you know when you're going against them, you know, and that's always like chaos if you're trying to do stuff that go against it, or if people are trying to put you like you know, jobs. I mean, it doesn't have to be interpersonal relationships. Like, you know, work for money is the first thing to come up and try to pull you out of like a core value. So, um, but okay, Erica, wow, freaking hats off. I wanted to take notes while you were talking. I wrote down who you were before your brain got rewired because I have a picture that I literally call the before. And it's, I was at work and there was like a big box. And I was like, who'll give me $5 to see if I can fit in this box? And it's
that.
me like trying to like fit in this box. And I call it the before because it was like, I feel like kind of that last moment of just like, I didn't really have any responsibility in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was light. I was still like kind of buoyant and doing stuff. And sometime shortly after that, that changed. And so who I am just in general, I'm not light like that. You know, my basic personality is the same, but I say it all the time. I'm dead inside and people laugh, but I'm like, so back to inner child, like when I think about that and what that felt like, she gone. I mean, obviously she's still in there, but it's not the same. My brain got rewired. And that's science, right? That your brain does rewire from trauma. I love it.
It's so interesting that I watched this video yesterday on LinkedIn by this guy named like Sir Ken Robinson, which is the silliest name. But it was about like how as kids we're so creative and we're so imaginative and there's all this like really good, like juicy content that's just floating in our brains. Like, and so much of that is just like, it's a lack of awareness about being wrong. Like kids just say stuff that like doesn't have to be right. They'll just say it. And they're like, this is right to me. And like, I'm going to just make up the answer. And so much of that is just completely like, as we get older, stripped of us. Like we are just constantly trained and like told to just fear. Like we don't want to be wrong. And so we basically hardwire ourselves through society to fear being wrong. And in doing so, we strip ourselves of our creativity. And we strip ourselves, I think, almost to your point, Bridget, like of our identities, of what makes us who we really are. And so like that's something that like I heard that yesterday and I was like, whew, man, like as an aunt, like I gotta make sure my nieces like don't lose their creativity. Like I gotta like make sure to encourage that and be, but it's so true. It's like reaching this milestone of turning 30, creating this persona, which is Babs. I feel like it's a desire and a just like earnest, it's almost even a desperation to get back to that creativity, to get back to that inner child, that person who was there before I was hardwired to be like a part of society's built structure that doesn't really serve us as individual people.
Yeah, I would say that the childness of it would be like that sense of play and discovery, and like you said, the creativity. And how can we as adults bring more of that into our lives, and what does that sound like and look like to you? And it could be different than what you liked as a child, but it also could be the same thing. And in my personal experience, I've had a lot of like grief and loss in my life and caregiving. And I found that the things that I went back to were like cross stitching and working jigsaw puzzles and petting my cats, which is what I did as a kid. And so that's been showing to me like I'm the same person. I've always liked these things. I had like my bedroom was plastered with dance pictures and point shoes and cats, and that's still what I'm into. So I'm like, okay, I'm still here, I'm still in there, so how can I bring this sense of play out? And then just to relate it to like my being an end of life doula, people as they approach this end of life, or at least the concept of talking about their mortality, it's like, well, what's important to you and how can we bring that into our lives each day? Where's the joy? So especially when you're looking at I only have this amount of time left, or how can I live each day to the fullest? It's like, what can we do to stop in the moment and see what's around us, feel the environment, smell, taste, see, hear, and what in that can we find joy? And I think that that's your inner child wanting to like have that nourishment of beauty and discovery.
Yeah, for sure. She's definitely still in there wanting to do stuff, and it's that like you get in habits of saying no, like I just don't go out, like COVID, blah, blah, snooze. Um, back when I was like going out on the reg, I would hit those like things where I was just like, ugh, I just don't want to do it. And I would always say like, what would 23-year-old Bridget do? And that was kind of my, culturally, that was my like inner child reference of like, if this is something that there is no way you wouldn't have done at 23, then you need to be doing it now. Right. And that was more like, it was stuff like, do I really want to drive like 6 hours to go to Memphis to go to this music festival? Of course I do. Like you know what I mean? Like, of course I do. I just don't feel like it. And that's like you being like getting some conditioning situational thing, but like that shouldn't be the overriding factor. As to like, there's some stuff that fundamentally like bring you joy and are just like a trigger for all like your happiness. And so like those things. And it's so easy for just like money and time and energy, not to act like those aren't important things, but to override like you seeking joy. And I do think like the more like responsibilities, I guess is what I'm going to say, you have, then the easier it is, the faster you definitely start leveraging and looking at things based on time, money, and energy, and not like just the pure joy of like doing it. Like I am actively annoyed right now that so many bands are touring
Yes. Oh,
because
my God,
I
can't
don't
keep
have
up.
because I don't have the time, money, and energy to like do it all. And I'm like, you're killing me. You're killing me with potential joy right now.
But see, it sucks for me because it's like there's so many bands on tour right now that I never got to see because like in their prime, I was like 16, 17, and like my parents were like, your curfew is like 11 o'clock. And then that's like when the band would start. And so like I feel like it's like a blessing and a curse because it's like I finally get to see all of my favorite bands from high school. No one's gonna care if I get home at 2 in the morning. But then I'm also like getting home at 2 in the morning when you're 30, like even if you haven't even drank anything, is like a whole experience, you know? And they're always like on a Tuesday and you have like an 8 a.m. morning meeting.
Babs, you can do it.
That's the mind thing. That's the mind thing though. And
Yeah.
it's so true. Like I'm the daughter of a finance guy. And so like I have all this hardwiring related to like fiscal responsibility. And so like this is such a great example. You brought that up and I was like, you know what? Like I was like invited to join a friend to go to San Diego for Comic-Con at the end of the summer. And I have like another trip that I'm already paying for in July, and I have work and I'm out of PTO. All these things are happening. I went on a trip to Europe earlier this year. Finances are tight. And it was like this whole inner dialogue around fiscal responsibility and all this stuff. And I just kept thinking to myself, if I go to San Diego, I'm going to have such a great time. Like, why would I not do it? I really want to go. My friends want me to go. I can technically and theoretically afford it. Probably not the best decision financially, but like, I can figure it out.
If
So
you
I was
can
like,
technically, theoretically do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was such this tension in my head of like, but to, you know, to Erica's point, it's like, I chose joy. I was like, this is going to be really important for me. So I'm just going to do it. My inner child, I think in this case, was right. We'll see at the end of the summer where I'm at.
I want to jump back and say that I think it's important to remember that everything in life ebbs and flows and that we can't be at 100% all the time. And it's important to listen to when our body's telling us not to do things. Like you said, like our bodies and our guts tell us what's right or wrong or what we want to do. And sometimes the right decision is to not do the thing if you have a feeling that you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then wait, because it's, nothing is permanent, everything's temporary. So there might be a chance then that, later on, in however much time has passed, then you're like, okay, yes, now I am ready to do this thing. Sometimes leaving the house is really scary. And then you need a night home, and that's your body saying, look, I'm tired, I want to rest. But then sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I want to go out to eat, or I want to go to this show. And that's also important. So there's a fine line between like pushing yourself, if you know you're going to have a good time and you're just like stuck in a rut and you don't want to go, like pushing yourself to like get out of your comfort zone and do it. But then also listening to what your body is telling you to do. Like I've been working, stupid capitalist culture. It's like hustle, grind, have 40 jobs. And that is just not sustainable. And sometimes you got to say, no, I'm going to take a bath and go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, I definitely think patterns is what I was referring to, where like once you start blowing stuff off, it gets so easy to blow stuff off. On the other hand, if you find yourself in a pattern of going out, ride that wave. What I hear is that like, Babs, you're in an upsurge and it's happening for you and you're having a great year. Keep making it better because everything is cyclical. And I don't want to be like foreboding, but you're going to hit like a pattern or a wave or a cycle where like you don't have the money or you don't have the time or you like whatever it is. So, or your nervous system's like, nope, we're done. So like, write it. This is your year. Keep saying yes. That's do it. Because I think more begets more. So like the more you're going out, the more you want to go out. And the less you're going out, the less you want to go out.
Yeah.
Last year was my year of reclamation, and because I had a really tough 2022, and so 2023 I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and it did involve going to concerts. I went to 35 concerts, which is wild. And by the end of the year, I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to go out anymore. So this year is like I'm being more choosy with what I'm doing, you know, because I kind of pushed it to the limit last year, which is what I needed to do.
Okay, who did you go see?
Oh my God, everybody. I'll go see anything. I saw Taylor Swift 3 times and twice, and Beyonce. I did go to all those big guys, so that was great. Yeah, I went. We did one of the Taylor Swifts was in Detroit. A lot of stuff around here. I am going to check my list though because I'm blanking now that I'm on the spot.
Oh, I would too. If it was me, I would totally blank. But you have to have good shit in there. You did it 35 times.
Such good stuff.
Mine, I ended up, basically, it was my year of female shamans. So I went to New York and saw Grace Jones. Freaking amazing. Jesus Christ. I literally 24 hours, like there and back, because it was the perfect example of it was the most irresponsible decision I could have made as far as what was going on in my life. But Tina Turner died, and I was like, fuck it. Like, and I saw Erykah Badu, and I saw Beyonce. I feel like there's another shaman in here.
I saw Janet Jackson.
Wow. You did?
Yeah. See? And like Ladysmith Black Mambazo, that was incredible. Legends.
They toured?
Big Frida. Yeah, they came to an event in Chicago. Yeah. Dave Matthews Band, which I'd never seen before. Jungle. I'm obsessed with Jungle. They're so good and they put on such a good live show. Little Sims, Janelle Monáe, Kesha. And then a bunch of like jam bands. I'm non-discriminatory in my musical tastes. And like, you know, in relating to the inner child, my folks raised us going to concerts. I went to my first concert when I was 7, and they always like took us out of school and like we're like, this is the priority, is seeing live music. So that embracing that love is like incredible. That's filling your cup and nourishing your inner child.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Music. But it's more that's me. That's not, I don't think that was given to me. You know what I mean? My mom didn't push that forward, but it's one of the first things that, like, I don't know, it's how I define myself, you know, and kind of figured out who I was or what I was interested in was like first the music, you know, and then into like different like nooks and crannies. All right. I feel like we've done it. I'm going to give it a second. Do we have any final thoughts? Babs?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's it. The consensus is, you know, more often than not, your inner child is right. But as Erica said, you know, you have to listen to your gut. And sometimes your inner child has no idea what the gut is feeling. And at the end of the day, she might need some kombucha, a little bit of Netflix TLC, and maybe a bath.
Yes.
Instead of going to the concert or flying across the country.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus.
Yeah.
I think whatever feels good is the thing to listen to. The thing that brings you joy, finding that joy, taking a moment of every day and saying, this is what I'm grateful for. Here's my gratitude practice. Yes.
And when in doubt, maybe go get your woo-woo on and see if you can have a psychic do a hypnotism and help you reclaim your inner child. She might scare you,
Yes.
but I really want to try that.
I do
honestly.
too.
After you said that, I was like, ooh, this is what I need.
It was cool. It was super cool. I wanted to do it again, back to money, you know? And I was like, oh, I don't know, but I recommend it. I mean, definitely you want to go. I'm going to say this. When I just Googled like Atlanta hypnotherapy and the array of stuff that came up, like one just may as well have said you're going to get kidnapped if you walk through the store.
Oh no.
But
Wait, you should save that for like another podcast episode because that.
but you know, I picked the chick that was just like, she does sound baths, and you know, it was obvious. It was very obvious who to choose, and it was amazing. Everybody do it. Everybody go at least do a sound bath is now what I'm saying, because that was a big part of it, and I feel like it's why it really worked for me. So
Yeah,
there
I
you
will
go.
take that advice
I know.
from strangers.
Google it right now.
All right. Thank you both so much for coming on and doing this. This was really cool. Tell your friends I don't know. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, guys.
It was so much fun.
Thank you to co-host Babs and this week's true stranger, Erica Reed Gertis. Erica is a death doula and wedding officiant, producer, and DJ for She's Crafty, Chicago's all-female Beastie Boys tribute band. Neither Babs nor I had ever met Erica, known of her existence, or seen her face before this recording.